Turn on a little bit of audio there. Well, good evening, everybody. Papa D here from Let's Talk About It with Papa D. It's been a few weeks since our last update, and we apologize for that. Been busy following things, but busy with the changing stories, bylines, storylines. Everything's been going on here really recently. Been utterly crazy, but we will talk more about that. Have Angela waiting on standby, and we'll be checking in with just 1 second and bring her into the fray here. But I'd like to start off with all the usual thanks. Real Clear Politics and all the polling that they do that we follow closely every day. I'd like to thank our subscribers, number one. If you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you join the family. Please come on by, see what we have to offer, listen to what we have. It's going to be an exciting couple of weeks coming up, leading up to the election, and we're going to sure bring as much of that to you as we possibly can. So please subscribe, like, share, do all them cool YouTube Papa D things. But with no further ado, we're going to jump right in. Been a lot going on here that we'll talk about. And let's see if we can bring in my counterpart in crime here. And Angie, are you here?
Can you hear me out there?
We got you.
Woo!
Modern
What's up,
technology
guys?
strikes again. How you doing tonight?
We got this. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good day. It's random news. Well, I texted your mom. My daughter made honor roll on her report card, so we are all celebrating at home, and I'm so ready for this election, Dad. I just can't even wait. I'm on the edge of my seat, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to get out there, do my thing.
Well, I'm going to tell you what.
I'm so pumped for this.
Everyone needs to listen. We're going to start this off with a little bit of a rant, but you all register to vote out there, hopefully by now. If not, going to be a little problem. But those of you that are registered to vote need to get yourself out there and vote. I, myself, and my lovely bride, we voted the second day of early voting here in Florida, the free state. And we are breaking records down here, folks. I can't speak for the entire country. I know my counterpart in crime will. She's got all the news that's
I will. I got you guys.
fit to print, and some that's maybe not. Wait a minute, no. That's Kamala. That's what I was thinking of there.
Right. We're the free speech people.
Yeah, we're the free speech people, and she's the no speech people. With that being said, blew into my cover on that one, on who I'm looking at. But down here in Florida, in the free state of Florida, we are breaking records, as really the rest of the country is, with early voting. The Republicans have finally, thank you, Lord, gotten to the point where it makes sense to push early voting, as the Democrats always have. And it's worked out really well for them. So the numbers are starting to look really good for us. And I know I can't speak for the entire state of Florida. I don't have all the details in front of me. And unlike some of the media, we don't come up with facts or make up facts and then back into them later. If we don't have it, we don't talk about it. But in my county, voting is up dramatically in excess of okay, looks like my backdrop just went loopy. We'll fix that later. But we are up dramatically, and one of the bigger counties in Central Florida, Orange, where all the fancy places that I don't name because you don't want to get in trouble with nobody, but all those parks and theme parks and places are all located in Orange County. And they had the first day of early voting, they broke a record. And that record, almost 20,000, there it goes, in excess of 20,000 voters on the first day of early voting, and that continued on to the second day. In our little hamlet here, the little town we live in Central Florida, first day voting was about 10% of the registered voters. So people are getting out early, and I think there's a big, talking to people as I do, hard to believe. I talk to people all the time.
Shocker.
People are shocker there. Shocker there. Quit your laughing. I'll ground you.
All right.
I digress. But people are generally a little worried. They're worried about a surprise. They're worried about possibility of things maybe happening to the voting machines, interference, dirty tricks, all kinds of things. People are calling it a little bit of everything. So that big push by our party to really push people to vote early, whether it be mail-in, whether it be in person for the couple of weeks leading up to the general election, has really paid, well, it is and hopefully will continue to pay dividends. So I would just make my spiel before I give this over to you, Ange, and I know you'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
Y'all vote, get out and vote early. Do not wait till Election Day. And I'm not going to be sitting here saying any kind of baloney about something may happen or may not happen. But if your vote is in, whether you voted via mail where you can track it, I'm not sure around the country what different locations are doing, but in the larger counties here in Florida, there's a system now where you can go and track your vote right up until you mailed it where it's at, that it was included. So they're doing things to really take that fog off, that moniker of people worrying about their vote. If you are like me, I like to go to the poll. I like to put the pen in my hand. I like to fill in that dot and put that piece of paper through that machine and watch that piece of paper, which can be later audited, do its thing. So I recommend you all get out and vote. If you are registered, call your local or get online with your local court officials, election officials. Make sure where your location is, what the times are. Here in Florida, they're open 12 hours a day, and they'll be open during the week until Friday before Election Day.
Till Election Day.
So, and then reopen on Election Day. So, yeah, it's very important you do it, and if you do it early, then you don't have to do anything about it. All you got to do is sit around and continue to follow and hope and pray and tell everybody else to vote. As our beloved former president and hopefully, again, future president has said, man, you got to get your people out. You got to drag them there. Tell them they got to vote. I mean, they got to perform their civic duty.
Carpool, do whatever it takes, pick people up. If they don't have a ride, get them to the polls. That's, it's the best thing you could do for the people you love and that you care about.
Absolutely. I've put out there to people I know, vote. If people are out there and they do not have a way to get to the polls, call me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll come get you. I mean, what's a few dollars worth of gasoline to get people to be able to perform their civic duty and to do what's right and hopefully have the opportunity to bring this country back from the abyss. And, folks, that's what it is. It is the freaking abyss right now. And, we've generally kept our tone down a little bit and kept things a little bit subdued, supplying general information and what's going on out in the field and what's coming through the media. But as you can see by today's events and yesterday's events, the Democratic Party has decided they have no alternative but to get into the gutter and start name calling and start talking about.
I call it the bring on the smear Hail Mary, because that's what it feels like. It's like we don't have anything left. Let's just throw one all the way down the field and hope to God somebody catches it. It's one of those moves, And it's
I mean,
sad.
call somebody
really, it's sad.
Hitler, playing the Hitler card, which is absolutely disgusting.
And totally desperate.
Totally desperate and totally as false as it can be. And there's footage online about all the things, the exact opposite that Donald J. Trump, how he feels, and a friend of the Jewish people, but to pull that card and start throwing out that he's nothing but a Hitler and a murderer, would be a murderer,
he's
and be
a
fascist, pulling the F-bomb as they're calling it on Fox. It's absolutely the lowest blow you can get, and it shows the desperation at which the party's reached at this point. they are at a point right now in the polls, and again, I'm going to throw that over. We're not going to get too deep dive into the polls other than the effect on the Electoral College, because at this point, electoral votes, well, not at this point, at all points, that's what matters. But
that's right.
In looking at the maps, and I've done that, and I had a couple of maps, and I was actually pulling my own maps, but now I can't find them. So when I switch over to Angie, I'll go look for that again. But if you throw the wild cards in there, if you throw the states that still could be, that are still pink but really aren't pink as far as we know, only because the margin of error is so tight, and a lot of these states are running under a point, depending again on the polling you're looking at. We're coming out of the box with north of 200 electoral votes right now, about 229 before we really get into the swing states and whatnot. And the swings are starting to swing the right direction. And it seems like every time there is a not a press conference, because she doesn't have them, a town hall, but where people don't get to ask questions. That's a really strange town hall, isn't it?
They've been predetermined and screened.
Yeah, screened. No, we aren't taking questions, but we're going to read your mind. I think that's what Shriver said.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's what the Democrats do.
Yeah. We'll read your mind, but we'll make sure you get the questions you would answer if we would allow you to ask questions. That blew my mind.
Right.
I
couldn't believe that. But, I did see on XDad where they had a picture of Shriver and Kamala together in one frame. And the tagline was, a town hall with women whose husbands knocked up their nannies. And I could not help myself but laugh. Normally, that's just, there's stuff like that all the time on both sides in the news and on social media. But when you see something like that and you didn't think of it at first when you see it on whatever news channel is your preference, it just, you can't help but say, wow, that's clever.
That's yeah. And it goes both sides, but every joke, or not every joke, but this joke has a basis in reality.
Sadly it does.
Sadly,
but
yeah. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at now. The big thing that we'll lead off with is a plea to the subscribers, to the casual viewers, anybody that has taken time out of their evening to spend a little time with us. If you don't know me, I'm Papa D. If you don't know her, that's Angela. And we just come on and we talk to y'all and tell you what we think and what we know and what we see. And then we beg you to go out and do your civic duty and vote, and hopefully vote in a manner that will bring this country back from a place that's
the brink.
The brink. Yeah, there's just no better way to put it. This is the most pivotal election of our lifetime. I thought that actually it was when I was in college, and that was the Reagan election of 1980, the first election I voted in, presidential. And we know how that turned out, and it turned out to be a great moment in history and a great time in history. We're at a point now that if you decide to make a left turn on this one, kiss it goodbye, folks, and you get what you pay for if you do that. But anyway, I will go off on a rampage. We'll hit an hour, and then Angie will be sitting over there going, "Hey, what about my stuff?" And then I'll have to listen to it for another week. So
it's okay. I'm
going to switch.
I'll just post it in the comments. Don't worry.
Yeah, you just rack up. By the way, leave comments. You people are
lightweights.
Yes,
please, for the
love of
God.
Even
comments. If you just say hi.
Say
Let
where
us
you're
know
from.
Who you're voting for.
Yeah, tell us something, anything. You
don't gotta. You can tell us.
You don't got to write a dissertation,
you.
but we'd love to know what your thoughts are on what we have to bring. And if they're bad, we just won't put them out. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's what politicians would do. But leave your comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you know. Tell us where you're at. I'd love to know where you're dialing in from, or videoing in from, or whatever.
Tuning in from.
However you got here. So anyway, I'm gonna push a couple buttons here, and Ange.
Okay.
You have got
Take it
to
away.
tee up the. I think we're going to start off right with the early voting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I have all of the swing states. I have it broken down several different ways, but I'm going to start off just by saying a few things. So, for anybody who's been paying attention, who's been watching news in the last couple of weeks, things have gotten really ugly really quick. And there's so much information out there all the time that it's really hard to keep up. So I tried to just collect a few tidbits so that everybody can kind of, maybe it'll ease a little bit of anxiety considering what we went through in this last election. We're not going to talk about that. That's a whole other episode. But I did want to start off by saying Democrats typically are the party that votes early. Okay. So in the numbers that we're going to go through in a little bit, there are some swing states that more Democrats have voted thus far than Republicans. The good news is it's not even election day yet. So it's just a gauge to kind of see who's been showing up, who's really excited to get to the polls, who's really excited to cast their vote. And with that, with mail-in ballots, some states are not legally allowed to count those until election day. So that will reflect in some of the numbers we go through as well. Do not be alarmed. It's just that right now they cannot tell us definitively what their percentages are for the Democrats versus the Republicans, and that's okay.
And they also
we'll figure it out on election
there.
Night.
They also can't release. A lot of them don't release the party affiliations of the ballots that were received. So you can pull out of these numbers what you want, but the increased numbers this early should tell you something.
Very right. It is not typically something that we see really at all. I mean, with Democrats, there is a higher percentage of early voting, but there's still not numbers where I'm going to go through in a little bit, where you're talking millions of people since their early voting opened in their state have voted. And that is unprecedented, especially with some of the states that we're going to talk about. But I did want to say the elderly typically request the mail-in ballots more so than any other demographic. Whereas the younger crowd, like the 18 to 35 crowd, which is a lot of first-time voters, typically vote on election day. So, and that's a big demographic when you're talking about first-time voters, the Gen Z, all the college kids, even people in their early to mid-20s that are just starting out and starting families and getting married. That demographic typically we're not going to see until we have coverage on election night, and also on all of the other major networks as well. But the good news is, this is what Dad touched on with you guys just a little bit ago, is Republicans are outpacing Democrats by over 300,000 registered voters nationally this election cycle. There are very few states that allow same-day voter registration up until or on election day. You'll have to check with your individual state that you live in to make sure, if you're still eligible to register, if you haven't already registered. Maybe go down to your local election office, speak with the people there. Just make sure that if you do intend to vote and you're still behind the 8 ball on that, really get on top of it. Maybe make some phone calls tomorrow or in the coming days so that you can be as prepared as possible for how and when you are going to cast your vote for the candidate that you love the best.
And some of those states that will allow that will give you a ballot that will not be counted that evening. It'll be a ballot that once your status is verified, then you'll be that vote will be counted.
Right.
So,
but you will still be able to vote. You will still be able to say, I am for Harris or I am for Trump.
That's right. You get your vote in. Your vote is pretty much on hold or on standby. Once everything's been verified, it's brought into the mix. But you still have, as you said, Ange, you still have the right, and you still exercised that right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here, okay, so you're gonna love this, Dad. You know how we are about the national, who the percentage of whose is whose, right? Okay, well,
Love
I
the
got a
who's.
doozy for you.
One
So
of my favorite
nationally,
bands.
as of I know, right? Well, I'm wearing one of mine today. I found this T-shirt, the Ramones T-shirt.
Oh, there's a classic.
So,
I don't know what I'm wearing.
nationally right now, and this is kind of a doozy because we have not seen this really since Miss Kamala came on the scene. Okay, and I say came on the scene because nobody
Kamala.
voted her in. All right.
It's
So right
what a coup
now,
gets you.
right, it's a coup, and we don't recognize coups. So whatever. Trump did get nominated by his party. Thank you very much. But I will say this. Okay, so right now, nationally, as of this afternoon, big news: Trump, Mr. Donald J. Trump, is at 48.1%, leading the United States of America nationally by the voters who think he is the bee's knees. And then we've got Harris,
America.
who has fallen from recent high grace to 43.4%. Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot. And I want everybody to understand what a 5-point difference with 12 days until election day really means. Okay. It means that her whole campaign is in deep, deep trouble. And I mean deep. That is not normal. That is not the average of what's happening. It's not good. It's not a good look for her.
No.
And also, because we also do the betting odds, okay? Because that's real money that people are putting in to the
and we'll say,
win.
Inch, that that's not legal here in the United States. We follow this. This is outside the country. Something we can't
Right.
do. But these are people that are voting with their own money and have, with the exception of 2 elections, I believe,
It's been correct.
Have been, no pun intended, been on the numbers.
Right. Right now, he is. So we've covered this with you guys for this whole time, and he's steadily been gaining week after week, right? But by a few percentage points. Right now, this man is sitting at a whopping 80% chance betting odds to win this thing.
In the money banks.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a hole in one to me. Like,
yep.
I don't know. I don't know how much clearer you can get.
You look at that, and when you're looking at the overall, depending on who you listen to and who you talk to and who you believe in, what day of the week of it is, whatever, the overall electoral college win percentage right now, the last number I saw was way early this morning, so it was probably yesterday's late numbers, was in the middle to upper 60% range. And these are people following exactly where the electoral college votes based on early registrations, early voting, polling, multiple pollings, and you're looking at numbers that are broaching 60% for Donald J. Trump.
Right.
So, as you said,
it's looking good.
And it seems like, and not to beat on somebody, but every time there's a town hall or there's another media town hall
opportunity,
presser, whatever they want to call it, the numbers continue to bleed off. So there's nothing left, as again, getting back to the opening, when we said there's nothing left but to get down and dirty and start name calling and throwing trash.
We've seen this in so many prior elections. The same rhetoric from different candidates in the same party. It's like they all get together with 14 days to go, and they're like, okay, what do you got? I got nothing. What do you got? Oh shit, I'm out of options too. Okay, well, let's pull the Hitler card, because that, it's our last prayer. I mean, it just feels like that because it's been done so many times over and over that it's getting old. I think people are still even if they were kind of on the fence up to this point, I know Trump is gaining popularity with African American men, Latino men and women. Um, and so I think a lot of people still who might have said, maybe I might go ahead and vote for her are now, watching all of these things unfold in the news and on social media. You got to think to yourself, if you still haven't cast your vote yet, I highly consider you watch these clips and look them up and really think to yourself, is this someone that I feel like can effectively, and I don't say just run a country, but you have to effectively day in and day out run a whole entire country with the utmost integrity in mind. And I really just, after the last 48 hours, Dad, I just don't feel sure. And I think the more we see, as early voting is continued the last couple days, we're really starting to see the numbers come out, the percentages, how many voters have gone to the polls in these swing states, and it is absolutely indicative of what you were saying earlier, is that a lot more people are waking up. And even if you're not registered as a Republican, that does not matter. People are absolutely choosing to vote red. They're voting for Trump.
Absolutely.
Because they understand that it's not getting better, and it's not going to get any better under the current administration.
Even if you're looking, you got to look at both candidates, and you have to, and trust me, we've looked at Kamala, and you're waiting for that,
Oh yes,
that
I've watched a lot of
watershed
her
moment
stuff.
when there's going to be something other than word salad. And the CNN interview,
Right.
don't like to mention networks, but that was the most recent town hall they did, and it was just a mess. And one of the key questions asked was about the economy and raising taxes, and would it be on the people above 500,000? And they really wanted to get kind of into the dirt on that. And what is your plan?
Mm-hmm.
And her response, as you know, Ange, was, to paraphrase, well, that's just too complicated of an answer. We can't get into that right here. So
Right,
you're going to tell
that's
people
something you say when you don't have an answer.
when you don't have an answer, or you haven't. She was. It was stated that by many that even by the network people, that she wasn't even prepared for that. It doesn't seem like she's prepared for these interviews, and there's going to be three key hits that you're going to get. The only question that was answered directly was when they asked if she believed that Donald Trump was going to be a dictator, and she said absolutely. I mean, the bashing
yeah, absolutely, I
could
do.
begin. But when you ask questions about the economy, about immigration, things that this administration, that her and her boss have already undone, problems that they've already created, problems that they continue to ignore, and you ask that question directly, you get word salad and immediately flip over to
and
Trump
redirection.
bashing. And so
Exactly.
we all wait for some answers and some legitimate answers to questions that just have never come. We're looking at right now, where are we up around, Angie? Close to 90 days since she became the heir apparent, and hasn't given a press conference yet, a real press conference.
Where she answers questions.
Where she actually answers unscripted questions. When she gets unscripted questions, she can't answer them. Yet she calls her opponent old and incapable and tired, and I'm sorry, but when I see
I don't know about
interviews,
you, Dad, but when I learned about the Holocaust, okay, not only in school but on my own personal time, I don't remember Hitler being old, lazy, and off his rocker. So if you're going to compare someone to an insane murderer, then and then in the same token say that they're lazy, you got to pick one story and really just stick to your guns, lady, because it's not adding up. The math, it's just not mathing.
Picking that as the comparative is just one more point at which they sink their own ship. Because
exactly
every time they open and I say they, and I keep it's not her, the people behind directing this fiasco, every time they do this, it comes back to bite them. The poll numbers reflect the exact opposite, and that started all the way back to the first debate and the Democratic National Convention.
Really, even before, really, what the catalyst for
that's what
me,
finished
I
Biden
feel
off.
like, right, the catalyst into her and, well, really the party as a whole, the exposure of the party's just evilness, the lengths that they will go to. Really, for me, the spark that lit the flame and the fire was the first assassination attempt. Mm-hmm. That's when you really saw everybody just, they took a stop, they took a deep breath, and it's like the veil lifted from over people's eyes. And they realized, oh my God, this guy is not the enemy. He never was. And he's not going to be that. And if we want our country to succeed, if we want our children and our children's children to have a future, then we cannot afford to vote for the opposite of the Republican Party, at least for this election cycle.
That's right. That's right. And I think, and again, this is just me thinking out loud, but my opinion is that if and when, this election goes the direction in which we believe it's going to go, and the outcome of the next 4 years leading up kind of to a new beginning and a recycle of people back to where they understood what it again is like having a decent country and a decent economy where people can make money, people can keep their money. Little things like, from my perspective, taxing Social Security, money that was already taxed when it was put in, getting taxed again. That's doing away with that. There's a lot of economic issues that are going to do nothing but send this country on a spiral north, not south. Aside from that, the world, I hate to say it this way, but it's the way it's got to be said, the world will fear us again. The world does not fear us anymore, folks. We are the laughing stock of this planet, whether you know it or not. Why do you think Vladimir Putin, for Christ's sake, wants Harris to win? He thinks he could work with Harris. You know why?
He doesn't
want to work with us. Because then he gets everything he wants.
Oh, yeah. She is going to cower to him like she does to everybody in her party, and I specifically Obama. Hate to say it, but after what I've seen in the last couple weeks come out of that man's mouth,
just the last 24 hours,
it is absolutely atrocious to see the fallout from what he was, the where he came out and became president to the remnants of what he is now. It is absolutely disgusting. But I think you're right, Dad. I think it's too much. And she's not going to be able to hold her own against all of these foreign dictators, not even just Putin. North Korea, China. I don't see her going up against China anytime soon. She doesn't want to help Israel, for God's sake. No, I mean, my God, they're our only biggest ally in the Middle East.
She's against Israel. China's getting ready to walk into Taiwan.
Yep.
North Korea is sending army to Russia. Oh. And we've got Word Salad Woman and Mr. Tampon in the boys' room are going to deal with this. Oh, my God.
Don't even get me started on that,
folks,
asshole. Sorry, excuse my language. Now. I'm sorry.
But, yeah, that's just another issue. And I'm gonna be another thing I'm going to say because it's on my mind. And I wanted to get to this, but you broached it with Obama. The man is trying to hold together a party that's in shambles right now. And the way, I'll pick my words carefully on this, I've got a lot of friends that are minorities. And I would be appalled at what he is implying on behalf of his own people.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
and the way he spoke to them, oh my God.
That they're stupid, that they don't know what they're doing if they vote for Trump.
You better get in line, and he's pointing the finger like they're I hate to say the words, but it's like they're on a plantation and he's the owner of it. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting.
And they wonder
I
why
couldn't even believe it.
The African Americans, the Hispanic Americans are all rallying against the party.
Because you are not defined by the color of your skin, period. The end. End of story. And that man went back pre-civil rights in that little speech he gave to that group of men. It was absolutely despicable. And for him to get up there as a black man and say things like that is, I just couldn't even, I would jaw drop to the floor, Dad. I didn't think I would ever see that in my lifetime. But so we sadly did.
Folks, that's what we've gotten down to. A party that, first of all, the party of slavery. Let's go back now. If you want to go back into your history books, the party of slavery was the Democratic Party. The party that freed the slaves was the Republican Party. The party that got them the vote, that extended the vote to women, Republican Party. So everything that they said that they stand for, they are the ones that were the exact polar opposite of it. What is convenient for that party, it seems to me, I'm just an old guy,
we're just observers.
Paying attention. I'm just an observer. If they think they can get a vote, they'll stand up in front of the minorities. If they think what matters this week is going out and waving rainbow flags, then they do that.
Also very true.
And again, everyone has their own right to do and be what they want to be. But if you're being used by a political party for political purposes only when they find it convenient is an atrocity.
It is. It's absolutely.
And that's what's going on right now. We're at a point, well, not right now, it's been going on.
Oh, yeah. But it's gotten to a fever pitch.
It's at a fever pitch. We are now in a home run, the final innings, where all the stops are being pulled out and everybody's being used, but not are they only using people, but in the same breath, their political folks are out there like Obama abusing them and treating them like they're stupid, and we need to tell you what to do. You know, they're trying to pick the remark about the remark, like there was only one remark. But the speeches that have come out of the top side of the party right now are just appalling. And I hope you all see that. And I hope you all take it for what it's worth. You don't need to get in line for anybody, folks. You got a mind in your head. You listen to podcasts, streams like this. There's hundreds of them out there. I watch 15 a day. I'm up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to get ready, so I'm awake when I'm getting ready to go to work. I spend about 2 hours catching up on the overnight politics and what happened. And some of it is thoroughly appalling. And that's using a simple...
It is not going to get any better. And I think Hannity put it the right way last night, Dad, when I watched the late version, the rerun version on Fox. Sorry, name drop again, but
good folks.
Good. I think very, very good. But I think he put it correctly, is that we are at a point in the campaign for both sides where it's crunch time. It's, for the lack of a better term, balls to the wall. You know, I know they use that on the Democratic side. I've seen some signs, which is just weird. But, I mean,
well, they also use the word joy, and they're not very joyful these days.
That's not joyful. What happened to tone down the rhetoric? Okay, whatever. That was like a month ago, so I guess we're past that.
Different month,
but I
think
he put it the right way. This is only the tip of the iceberg, is what happened yesterday. When she stood outside of the BP residence to make that announcement, and I'm just like, you took 2 days off, you flopped on both interviews, you literally told Telemundo that you're going to allow for amnesty for every single person you let in this country, illegal and full of crime, doesn't matter, you're a citizen now, because they want to make everything blue. Regardless of that fact, this is the tip of the iceberg, and they are just going to continue the daily smear of anything they can figure out, anything they can make up. And that's why Trump and everyone who has spoken at his rallies for months has said that you have to stay the course. Don't get sidetracked by all the hoopla. Folks. Right. Don't get distracted by any of that nonsense, because we, the people, are going to decide November 5th that we're done with this crap.
Right.
We're done. You're fired, remember, as Trump says. You're fired.
You're fired. Just remember, Kamala and her elitist backers and the entertainment people raised, God, once she was coronated. Coronated? Yeah, coronated.
Yeah.
After the coronation, or after the toilet paper named by this similar name, it's interchangeable anyway.
Yeah.
She raised, or they raised, like $1 billion with a B. Okay, tons of money flooded in.
First time in history.
First time, big money flooded in. That's why you can't change a channel. You can't look at your cell phone. You can't get on the internet without seeing ads, because they've got bread to burn. And it's the way it's going to be. And the bull.
But what does that remind you of, Dad? Hillary did the same thing in 2016,
baby.
She threw all her money out there and just laid it all out. And it didn't
guess what
save
happened?
her. It made it worse. And that is exactly what's happening right now with Kamala and her campaign.
That's right.
They're just throwing money out the window, hoping to God somebody who is like maybe even on the fence says, you know, I saw this one ad. That's really what changed it for me. And I think people are past that. They need more than an ad.
People are smarter than that.
They need you to, right. They need you to sit down and tell them in, you know, no greater words that, hey, I am a human being just like you, and I'm going to do everything possible with legal to make your life and your family's life the best it's ever been, and continue that on for generations. That's what people want to hear. People want to afford groceries.
Mm-hmm.
People can't afford gas. They can't afford their electric bill. And we're coming up on winter time. I mean, let's get real, people.
You want to talk about suffering? You want to suffer? You'll be suffering. Not that this matters more important than that. I very rarely go out for fast food anymore, because it's gotten stupid is what it's gotten.
It's atrocious.
And I worked yesterday and was starving, so I told your mother I'm going to stop by McDonald's. Just so happened, you know, if it's Don's favorite place, it's my favorite place. So
hey, it's good enough for me. My son loves it, there, so I mean,
you got to have the fry fries. Got to have the fry fries.
Got to have the fry fries.
So I go over there and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just grab me a couple meals and whatever. And it wasn't too long ago I was there. Well, I'd say probably a month and a half ago. And that same meal, I think it was 8 something, and I thought that was absolute insanity, and I did it anyway. And ordered the same meal, and it was almost $11.
Oh, I believe it.
Almost $11. If you want to buy just as one sandwich there now, and again, this is not to beat up or beat down at McDonald's. Prices are bad everywhere. But it's indicative of when you go to something that's become an American staple and people, I don't want to say rely on it, but it's the quick and easy grab a bite when you need it. One of those places, there's many of them out there. You know, when a burger's costing you literally $7. Look back 4 years ago, folks. Bet you weren't paying $7 for a hamburger then. And this is only going to get worse. The economy is only going to get tanked worse. And you just have to – this all goes back to where were we 3.5 years ago? Where are we today? And if you can't look at your grocery bill and you can't look at the things that you use to afford and you really didn't think about it. Whoever thought about, can I afford going to McDonald's, for God's sakes? You know,
well,
you did it. And it was a dollar menu and a Happy Meal, you know.
Right. Now the best they can do is a measly, couple of scraps for $5, and they're calling that a deal, and it's not really a deal.
But again, this is all due to inflation. It's all due to, it really, and I agree with the president when he talks about inflation, and these prices start with energy. decimated the energy sector in this country. We've stopped drilling. We've shut down pipelines, and we've done all the things that should not have been done. And when energy suffers, everything suffers. And it was also a downhill spiral, and that's where it leads us to today. Where you can't afford to buy a pound of bacon, you can't afford to hardly feed your family. So if you want more of that, then you know who to vote for. And it's not the guy that needs
if you like to struggle and starve, I think that should be the new slogan in the last, 11-ish
Democratic
days.
slogan. We're for struggle and starve.
Kamala and Walz, struggle and starve. I mean, it's, it's fitting. I mean, most of us are struggling and or semi-starving. So,
let's get back, before we get on and finish, you're going to have to wrap this. We're coming up on an hour. But just think back. You've got individuals that are on both sides who are not going to miss a meal. If they got to pay $50 for a McDonald's hamburger, they can do it. Okay? These people are not going to suffer by the actions or inactions that they take. But you got a man who doesn't need at all to take what he's taken. He has been sued to infinity, still is, had his name and his family dragged through the mud, been shot at multiple times, hit once. And as he said one day, I'm paraphrasing that also, he could just be sitting on a beach with a nice drink with an umbrella in it and be happy as a clam. And they would have left him alone, and he could have lived out his life in the style in which he has created due to his family's hard work and investment. But he's here, and he's taking those bullets, has taken that bullet, and everything he's doing, folks, he's doing it for you and for me.
Absolutely.
And for her and for our grandkids and all of you out there. He doesn't need this shit, and excuse my language, but it is what it is.
He doesn't.
That man's out there
really
to save this country and to save your collective behinds. And if anybody doesn't see,
because he is, like, when I say he's a person just like everybody else, he's also a father and a husband and a grandfather. And
his granddaughter watched him get shot on television, for God's sakes.
Right. He doesn't want his grandchildren or his own children to live the rest of their days in a world where they don't feel safe, they can't afford to eat, they can't afford a house, they can't even afford to go to college, they can't afford to even live on their own. I mean, it's not a fulfilling life for the future. And I think that's how he resonates with so many hardworking Americans, Dad? Like, right. He's not like us in the sense that, he's a billionaire and he lives, in these lavish homes. But he is like us in the humility that he shows when he speaks to everyone. And he's not afraid to get out there and stand up for what he believes in, regardless whether you like it or not. And I respect that.
And if he throws something on X, Twitter, that hurts your feelings, well, get off of X.
Right. Unfollow him then. Don't read it.
Unfollow him. But the man speaks to the common folks in this country who are now being financially and mentally beat down. And I'm sorry, the other side has offered nothing to make me believe that they have a clue. What you'll have is, if the election goes that direction, will be 4 more years, if it lasts that long, of what you have right now. And you will not be able to afford groceries at all, and going to work. And why do you think we're getting slight gas prices downward gas prices right now? Well, it's right before the election. That's not the first time that's happened. Yeah. But you got to look good, and you've got to, they haven't done any modifications to the taxes yet, but they have been releasing, as far as I can remember, from the strategic oil reserves. And when you do that, you're pumping volume into the refineries, and prices will adjust by that. So don't be fooled by, when you go to the pump, I just paid $2.94 a gallon, thought I just got a Christmas present. Surprise, folks, it's 2 weeks before the election.
Right. Wake up. Don't
up.
like
Enjoy
I said before, Do not get complacent or do not get fooled by anything that they're going to throw at you in the next 11-ish days, because it's all crap.
Stay the course, folks. Stay the course.
Stay the course.
And just, it's like my dad used to tell me, just remember the source. Remember where it's coming from. All right, Ange, I'm going to roll over to you. Go ahead.
Oh, the actions always speak louder than the words. Remember that.
That's right. Well, I'm going to flip this over to you for the last bit here, because I know you got a lot of stuff to go over. You still had some of the polling data. I'm sorry, the early voting data.
Early votes.
And then, again, we maybe can flip over to the totals. But
okay.
Again, if you get anything else from this mini rant that we just gave you, vote,
just
stay the course, and just pay attention. Exactly. But don't get overburdened by the burden of the overburden by things that do not burden you.
Right. Which I'm going to get with you after this, Dad, because there is a book that is being released about a woman who is she is a U.S. citizen. She grew up in China, and the dictator at the time was the one who spoke those exact words to his people to get them to convert to a communistic regime. So we might have that on a later episode.
All right. Yeah, get that information together. We can certainly shout out
so
on that.
Good. Yeah, she's a really sweet lady. She did have a talking piece, I believe, on one of the various shows on Fox in the lineup yesterday.
Can you text me that? Is that something you have on your phone, or?
Not at the current moment, but I will get that to you as soon as we wrap this up, though.
We'll give a shout out.
Yeah.
Again, people, you have to learn.
She's a sweet lady.
As they always say about history, you learn. Those who do not learn from history will die by it, and will suffer through it again. And this is not the first time this game has been played, folks. So,
it's a repeat.
Yeah, this is a rinse and repeat, and we're going to get it. So,
but yeah, I will get that to you.
Okay, I'm going to flip this to you for a little bit. Let you run through things you want to finish up with, and then we'll wrap it. And one thing I want to say before that, though, is we won't be waiting 3 weeks for the next episode, folks. This is going to be as quickly as we can hit them, because things are changing dynamically by the day. So just stick with us, and there'll be a whole lot more to come, including a very interesting election evening, I believe, which I will forecast.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to say it right now. One more thing before I let you get your stuff. One more thing.
Okay.
It'll be over by midnight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Be over by midnight.
I think it's going to be another night like 2016, Dad, where you and I stayed up downstairs and scared the living crap out of Mom because we were getting so loud, jumping up and down every time. Yeah, it was a rip roaring good time. We have a good time in our family with politics, I got to tell you.
All right.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time as an American.
Absolutely. Well, it's yours. So I'll let you. We got off track here.
So for everybody still here, thank you so much. I've been going through a lot of the early vote count. They do have a percentage that they list. This is off of a few different various websites. I did include NBC just because it seemed like like accurate data in comparison to other websites that I had also looked at. It just had a different breakdown in like the spreadsheet of the different swing states that I was looking into. So I'm going to focus on swing states for right now because those are, as we've all talked about for dozens of episodes up to this point, those are the ones that are going to make it or break it. Let's face facts. Pennsylvania is in play now for the Republican Party. They have completely turned red, which more registered voters are Republican now more so than Democrat, which is not very common for Pennsylvania. They are pretty solidly blue most elections. even though Trump did win them over in 2016, I think they, along with a lot of other people in the country, have since realized, maybe it was better 4 years ago. So I'm going to go down the list. We're going to start with Arizona. So as of today, and this is all updated to this afternoon, okay? So this is not just something I looked at, 48 hours ago. As of today, they have had 917,000 total early votes cast, and it is leaning Republican by 42% to a Democratic 36%. That's huge. Then we get to Pennsylvania, because this one is what a lot of different news channels have been talking about. I've seen a lot of it on social media as well. 1.2 million total early votes have already been counted and cast. It's leading for Republicans by a total of 28.91, so about 29%, to the Democrats' measly 19%.
And it should be 4 times that. So what does that tell you, Ange?
Yep.
The Democrats have rolled over and either are voting Republican or they're bowing out.
Right. Which,
one of the
don't
both.
Stay home. We still encourage you to go out there and vote.
Absolutely.
In Georgia, which now this one, the last couple of weeks, I know a lot of you guys have been paying attention. They have flopped and flipped in Georgia so many times. I got whiplash. Okay. It was hard to keep track. But as of right now, the people have finally said, right, I think enough is enough, and we are just going to get down to business. Thank you, Georgia, because 2.6 million of you have cast your votes early, which is incredible, which in turn has the Republicans leading by 48% to a Democratic 46%. This also goes along with what we talked about at the beginning of the video, where Democrats typically vote early. This does not mean across the board nationally. It really just varies by state. The biggest city, in the state of Georgia, Atlanta. So, and they are typically a Democrat area of the state. So watch out for that. But like we always say, we're not on election day yet. These are just the I can't even say it.
Preliminary.
Wow. Thank you, Dad. I'm tired and I'm sipping coffee like it's keeping me alive right now. Okay, guys. So yeah, good job, Georgia. Keep up the good work. Okay, get out there and make sure you vote. Nevada.
As you can see there, the polls are holding well in Georgia. So.
Oh yes.
Everything is leaning the right way.
State. Right. Nevada has been the one that has been like the breakout child. Okay. Everybody's all about Nevada today, and I finally figured out why. They have so far 408,000 total ballots have been cast, which is huge for that state because it is a densely populated area, but it is also, people forget, it is a highly concentrated tourist area in the West. So you don't necessarily, people visiting doesn't necessarily mean that they're living there and they're voting. This is a pretty large number for that state because in elections past, you have not seen this kind of turnout at all in early voting for that state whatsoever. It just hasn't happened, at least in the last 2 or 3 elections, which in turn, Republicans are leading right now in the already early voters, 40% to the Democrats, 36%. So that one is still kind of, it's in play, but I think the Republicans have a firm grip on Nevada at this point, and it is showing in the polls as well. He has a very slight lead, but there is a lead in Nevada.
Yeah, Rasmussen's got them up by 2%.
Oh, good. Okay, points. So that's even higher.
So it's moving up. And everything else, all the other polling. Again, thank you to Real Clear Polling.
Yes, that was one of the ones that I did visit, and it's very trusted. You guys, they update it.
Great site.
Very, very quickly.
Thank you for allowing us, we use their numbers, and we reflect a lot of our decisions based on that polling, and even the additional other polling, some of the historically left-leaning, like Bloomberg, and they've listed
Oh yeah, they've
Trafalgar and
all
the Hill
jumped on the
are down to
bandwagon.
single digit, down to +1 Harris.
Hmm.
Everything else is running as high as Wall Street Journal's one is blowing my mind completely. They're at +6 in Nevada for Trump.
Well, I think the Trump delusion, whatever syndrome it is,
Yeah,
it runs deep, Dad. It runs real deep.
it runs deep, but I think they've people have finally been inoculated against it because these numbers are
Yeah.
starting to really reflect a common sense approach to what the heck is going on. So, I'm sorry I jumped in, and I'm not even
No,
on
you're
camera.
good.
I'm just over
You're good.
talking over you.
Hey, it's important. Everybody, we gotta get all the facts and the whys and the hows. That's it's
That's
all
right.
all part of the thing. Um, the two that I kind of we talked about this in a previous video, Dad. The two that we were kind of iffy on, Wisconsin and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of turnout in Wisconsin. They've had 592,000, and in Michigan they've had 1.34 million so far, which is incredible for
Jeez.
Michigan. Um, Here's the thing I saw when you break down the percentages, and this kind of had me like doing the rock eyebrow kind of thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In Wisconsin, Republicans are at 21% of the total early votes already cast, whereas Democrats are at 36, but then you have other at 42%. So I was like, I don't know about that. I think something seems a little fishy in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's all going to level out, and we'll 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 have the end result and the final result in these states on election
Yeah,
night. I have no
there'll
doubt
be
in my mind.
a much cleaner look at how this early voting went as we get through through this week, uh, in
Right.
next week as things start to and they'll iron out a little bit. We'll get a real good impression of what actually did take place, especially as some of the states start to
Hmm.
release data relating to the party affiliations, if they in fact even do that. Not all do.
Right. Not all do. But I still do think Wisconsin and Michigan. Michigan, they have Republicans at 38%, Democrats at 52%. But Michigan is one of those states, Dad, where you have a lot of mail-in ballots. Um, and they are one of those states that do not start counting those until election day. So I think
By state
Michigan is
law.
one of those that, yeah, we're not going to really see what we have to look forward to in Michigan until like 6, 7 o'clock on election night when they
Hmm.
start funneling in and the numbers really start to move. So I wouldn't get too worried about Michigan yet. It is very much still in play, absolutely.
Right.
And Trump is going to make another campaign stop in Michigan. So they are still very active in the state campaigning,
Right.
and he is really good about that. He doesn't quit. He's going to be campaigning on election day, I guarantee you.
He won't stop.
He doesn't do days off.
Trump Force One will be in the air right up until the end, until he's got to go back
Oh yeah.
for the results. But yeah, you're right, and that's what I was saying about. We'll know I think by midnight, and as the states like Michigan close, and some of the results start to get, depending on how quickly they can get the districts in, we'll start hearing somewhere between 7 and 9, more likely 8 and 9, 9:30, where we get some good hard numbers, and that'll
Right.
lock it down pretty good.
Oh yeah. And if the trend continues for the majority of these swing states, including North Carolina, they've seen 2.10, like a little over 2 million people
Mm-hmm.
in one of the hardest hit areas by Helene get out there and still manage to vote. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the will of the people is strong.
And those people
And
are
it's,
voting with their heart and soul in their pocketbooks because they have not
yes.
been adequately served.
Oh God, no.
by the Fed.
That's a oof.
That's a whole nother issue, guys.
It's
But
so bad. It's really bad. But I
but
think
they're
if the
getting out and
trend
voting, and they'll
continues,
got to tell you something.
right? It says, hey, I think people are excited to go out and vote. They've regained this confidence of we can actually turn this thing around. It's not out of our reach. It's not an impossible thing that we can attain. It's absolutely going to happen if we put our minds to it and we work as a group of people who love our country. I think we could absolutely turn this sucker around.
And this
And
is why
it's
the
going to take
country
every
was
single one of
formed,
us.
and the way the Constitution was written, the way our government was put together. This is our chance to take our country back. This is your chance to take your country back. People talk, and I've had discussions with many people, and everybody says, "Oh my goodness, if things don't go this way or things don't go that way, and next thing you know, everybody's going to be in a shooting war, and here we go again." The closest we need to be to a shooting war is a sharp pencil, because
right.
you can
Fill
throw
in that circle.
the bad guys out with a sharp pencil, and voting and putting that paper through the machine or touchpad if you are in a state that does touchpads, or however they do it. That's how you win a war, and that's how you take your country back. And that's why we just keep harping, and that's why Donald and everyone else, I'm sorry, Donald, like I'm on a first name basis. Sorry, Mr. President. That was
He's the people's
not
president.
Cool. Yeah, but we're not on a. He's the president.
I don't think he would mind that. He seems like he'd be okay with it.
But Mr. President, if you heard that, no disrespect, I didn't mean to call you by your first name. I can just say I was talking about his son. I was talking about
there you
Donald
go.
Jr.
Donald Jr.
I'm covered now. I'm good. Anyway, you have to get out and exercise the right, or else you will lose the right. That's how the game will be played.
Yeah.
Irrespective of what you hear in the media, irrespective of what you hear over the next 2 weeks, stay the course, keep an open mind. If you are still undecided, listen, learn, take the time to understand. Maybe you'll, sometime between now and the election, we'll actually hear some comments from the opposing party that give a plan that we can wrap
Either
our
they
brains
resonate
around and we
with
can
you
dissect.
or they turn you all the way off.
But you've got to do what's right. And again, it sounds like we're talking out of both sides of our mouth here. We're not. I mean, obviously, there's a party that says they're the party of change, and that's the party that's been in office for 3.5 years and completely muffed it up. You know what we think you need to do. I know what I'm going to do. Or, wait a minute. I know what I've done.
You've already done it.
I know what I done did. Done did it. Diddly-do. But, see, that made about as much sense as asking Kamala Harris what her plan is for
hey, I understood you
taxes.
better than Joe. So
And
I think you're doing pretty great, Dad, all things considered.
Well, just give me some vanilla ice cream.
Oh, my God.
Let me sniff your hair.
They made a joke
Spooky,
about that
man.
today, and I could not contain myself. I was like, wow, you guys. And the one guy was like, I'm not old enough. I'm not his type. And I was like, Jesus, here we go. Like,
Here we
go. It's 2 weeks before the election. The Band-Aid got ripped off, and here we go.
Yep. And just keep that in mind, too. I wanted to say that, Ange. Where is Joe on the campaign trail? Nowhere to be found.
I think they told. I have a theory on this, and I know we don't really do conspiracy theories. It's not really a conspiracy, but I do really feel like after he got out there at one of the campaign headquarters or whatever the heck it was, they gave him his go-go juice and they, sent him out there with a microphone. And he called for Trump to be locked up. and
Yeah.
then kind of tried to correct himself by saying politically lock him up, and then he's like lock him out, and I'm like, which one is it? Are we locking him up? Are we locking him in? I don't know. Do you even know? Who knows? I think they said, you know what, enough is enough. We're going to get
Put him away.
Beyonce, we're going to get Bruce Springsteen, we're going to have a concert, we're going to have Obama razzle dazzle some folks, and we're going to hope and pray to God all together now. And it's just comical at this point. But
Yeah.
it's sad because it's like, who really is running our country right now? Who is making these tough
Right.
choices?
He's not on the ball enough to run for re-election, but we'll just keep him back there in the
But
Oval
he's still good
Office
enough.
and
Oh,
keep his
yeah.
finger on the button. That just makes no sense at all. But
Not feeling it.
it's a couple different things. I mean, they don't need bumbling, stumbling Joe out there misfiring. And on top of that, I've heard and the analysis that we've come across. I mean, Joe just doesn't like Kamala. He just does not like her. And then on top of this, how the woman who didn't garner a single vote in the primaries and was the first one out, one of the first ones out, is now running for his job. So if he didn't like her already, he certainly don't like her now. And why is he trying to? So by not, see if I can phrase this right, by not doing anything positive, he's hurting her campaign. And I think part of this is
And I've
Joe
wondered if he's
Biden.
doing that on purpose.
That's where I'm heading with it. If you're the sitting president and you're so behind your vice president who you have potentially groomed and prepared, and now she's going to she's the next generation, and I'm paraphrasing his speech.
Mm-hmm.
But then you do nothing to assist her, whether it's by your choice or a combination of his choice and the party's choice, which I think is the case.
I think it's more so the party.
They put him on the beach and said, "Stay on the beach, Joe. Don't say a word."
Yeah, you're on a permanent vacation. We'll tell you.
We'll tell you when we need you. But every once in a while, Joe goes off the reservation, pops off a little bit, and then the whole world goes, that's the reason he's no longer there. And then this reverts back to Kamala, who's spent 3.5 years saying he was fine. So this whole thing keeps going.
And she repeated that on CNN, Dad. Did you
absolutely
catch that? They asked her point blank, and she was like, I don't see a difference. Like, so surprised that they would even bring that up. I'm like, everybody in the country is asking it, honey. You need to maybe clarify some stuff with us.
Well, but I think part of that is her unfounded or founded loyalty to Biden.
Right. And her sheer arrogance. I think she's just completely arrogant.
Yeah. Give you that one. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. It's how this whole thing transpired and how she became where she is, and then Joe's kind of on the beach and wearing, putting on suntan oil and drinking Mai Tais or whatever, Geritol cocktails, whatever he's got going down these days.
Who knows?
And the only time something gets said is when it's going to find its way around to the back door for an injury, further injury to the campaign. So that whole thing is bizarre. This whole story is yet to be written. Let me tell you, folks, after this election, and as we move forward, and as history starts to write this story out, how this transpired, as people come out of the woodwork and talk about how it transpired, it's going to be talk about your number one bestseller, guys. This story
I can't
is yet
wait
to be disclosed.
We deserve to know. Every American deserves to know what really happened. And so, and I say that not only because we are entitled as American citizens to know what is going on with our elected officials, but also so we don't rewrite that history again for our children. You don't ever want to get to a point in government where you're so corrupt and divided and everybody's out for themselves and they're power hungry and they're money hungry. That is a recipe for disaster. Look what happened in Rome. I mean, if you go back in time, there's so many different major powerhouses that collapsed for that reason. We have worked way too hard a lot of our ancestors died for this country. Um, we owe it to them to do them to honor their memory correctly by continuing on the country in a positive way. And if sadly, not everybody thinks that way. They don't think the Constitution is completely normal and necessary.
Those in power want to stay in power.
Terrible.
That's just the way
yes.
it is. That's just
They're
the
addicted.
way it is. And those in power will do anything they feel is necessary to stay in power. If it is to the detriment of this great experiment we call the United States, then for them, so be it, as long as they get to stay in power. We, the people, still have the ability to control our future. And in my humble thoughts, and yours also, I'll speak for both of us, there's one way to do this, and that is to vote for what we once had and was taken away. I will say, as I was always taught, you don't know the good unless you've experienced the bad. And I have to look back and say the great things that would have been done and the difference our economy would be in right now had the 2020 election ended differently. But it didn't. And we're not going to get into whether it was a legitimate election, illegitimate, stolen, not stolen. We're just going to say the people spoke, the counts got in, the water's over the bridge, the bear crapped in the woods.
Right.
But now you can see, I say you, our viewers,
all of
should
you
be able to see very clearly what this kind of change brings to our country, what it's done to the debt, what it's done to the immigration policy,
the border,
and also what this hatred that they're spewing has done to divide the country. One thing I do notice that's a lot different from 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, people are not afraid to show who they're voting for.
No, and I've seen that a lot more, Dad, too. A lot more signs in people's yards.
Bumper stickers?
I've seen bumper stickers. I've seen more flags being flown outside of homes. It's
3.5
incredible.
years ago, people were afraid to do that.
Right. Because you were afraid you were going to get your house broken into or egged or robbed. You know, I mean, God only knows. And I mean, people just, and there are still quite a few of those people who very fiercely believed that this man is gonna lock everybody up and throw away the key. And it's really awful, but I think we can. I think, Dad, you're right. I think we still have time to change
time to heal the
directional course. Right. Yes.
I mean, I left. I'm not going to say where, but I was coming home from a place that I go to a few times a week. And when I got home, I saw that someone had tried to pick the bumper sticker off the back of my truck. Simple thing. I chuckled it off.
Right.
I was told I should investigate it. In 2 more weeks, that won't matter. Doesn't matter right now. But it just shows that people think they can invoke change by scraping off or taking away a name.
Right. It's not going to change anything.
It's not going to change anything. It's indicative of the divide in this country and the hatred that's been spewed that have people doing things like happened to President Trump. And whether you're a conspiracist or not, another word I'm having trouble with tonight, whether you believe that who was involved in that, again, will this ever come out? Who knows? But I believe you just had enough hate and people being called, that man being called Hitler and being called everything under the sun, that people have decided that it's their duty to take it upon themselves to do horrible things. And thankfully,
right.
he's still here to talk about it. This country's got to start healing at some point. I think the healing starts as soon as, again, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. This election takes place. Hopefully, the transition takes place without pain. And then people can see, all Americans can see as we make that slow recovery. And maybe that
right.
divide,
and it's
that
gonna
50-50
take time.
divide.
There's a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Right.
Go ahead.
There's so much. And there's so much in so many different areas of the country that we need to really dig into and look into and, turn that direction back around. But I think what I'm starting to see just in the last couple of weeks is the more people that start to wake up to the realities of what they're facing, not only every day within their own community and their own family, but just nationally and really globally too, with the potential for us to be sadly and scarily included into another world war. I think they want to heal so badly for their communities and their families and their state that they live in, and their children and their grandchildren and their job potential and their safety, that maybe even if you are not 100% okay with the things that Trump says sometimes, or choosing what music he listens to, or whatever the situation, the issue that you had with him in the past, I think a lot more people are willing to put those differences aside and say, you know what? I might not like everything that he's out, but the facts don't lie. And if we really are committed to healing our country and our communities, it starts with every individual saying to themselves, I think at this point, because the choice is obvious, you have to choose Trump and J.D. Vance and all of the people that have supported him, and all of the people who currently support him, that are going to put us in a path that not only are we healing, but we're thriving. And that is what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the country that, like Dad said, like you said earlier, that people fear, that they envy, that they want to come to the right way and go through the legal process of immigration, because they really truly believe that our country is the best place for them and all of the future generations that they are included in. And I really do feel confident that more people are waking up, and that little spark has already been struck. And if we just continue to build on it, and we all commit, it's going to take all of us to commit on November 6th to accept whatever result it is, and to still continue that commitment to healing and love and a future where we can be proud of ourselves. I think it is possible, and I'm seeing the change. I'm starting to see it little by little.
That's right. Well, guys, one thing I want to mention here too, we're running right up against the clock now, but you've heard from us, and we'll be back again next week, if not sooner. But at this point in time, y'all need to just stay the course, get out and vote.
Absolutely.
If you haven't voted early, please consider it. Also, we'll bring this up real quick. I'm going to be out of frame a little bit here, but something we do bring up.
Oh,
right
I went the wrong way. I was going to be like, hey, Dad.
I'm right there. Here I am. I set
Go
that
ahead.
up on the fly. But this is a website that we talk about every week. Matter of fact, let me bring this up a little bit cleaner so y'all can actually see it. And let's try that so we don't have to squeeze ourselves into the box. This is protectthevote.com, and this is a site that has been set up by the GOP. Doesn't matter who sets it up. The whole purpose is so y'all can be part of a fair election, and one that is packed with integrity and one that can be trusted. This website has a lot of different options, and you can go sign up. We recommend you do. I've done it. You can contribute if you'd like. If you don't want to contribute, you can contribute your time. You can contribute through. You can look up the activities that are going on in various states, see what's going on in your state. There are various news, and you can also volunteer. And you can fill out your basic information in here. You can go to the state which you live in. You can be a poll watcher. You can register to just, if you see something or you know something, someone that shouldn't be voting, someone that isn't doing things on the up and up, you can report that. But you can spend time in whatever way you feel and that your time allows or your pocketbook allows to help support a positive election with nothing but full of integrity and one that can be trusted. And it's a great website, a lot of information out here. They do not sponsor us. Nobody does. If anybody wants to, step on in. But we talk about Protect the Vote every week. I think it's an awesome place to get information and a place to be a part of the solution, not the problem. So
exactly.
We hawk that, and again, we get nothing from them. We get nothing from anybody, but we thank everybody that allows us to use their information. And again, we'll thank Clear Politics for all the hard work they do, and we appreciate the data that they help us present to you guys. So, Ange, I think we've gone
I just
through
want
this
to mention
evening
two
anyway.
quick things to everybody real quick. Two main things.
Yours.
The Joe Rogan podcast with Trump is tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a good juicy one, and I really think we're gonna get some insights that we have not yet seen on the campaign trail. So tune into that. And then the biggie is the rally at Madison Square Garden Sunday in New York. Trump and so many other guests are going to be there. So make sure you tune into that. Even if you might still be on the fence or you're kind of just thinking, hey, maybe I want to check and see what this guy's really all about. Is he really what they talk about on TV? Mm-hmm. That's going to be the one you want to tune into, because that's like the Super Bowl rally before it really gets crazy.
And of course, the Democrats have
those are the two.
Attached that to Hitler's big speech prior to the Olympics, I believe it was. But they had to tie that into something.
Well, I think they're mad. They're mad
that he can fill it
because they just revealed he not only can he fill it, but that New York is actually in play.
It's in play now. Absolutely.
And it's in play. It absolutely is. As of today, they are really starting to get a lot more support, and especially from minority groups within the Tri-Cities. Oh yeah. Oh
all
boy.
The people
get ready,
that
guys.
Have been told
we might.
All the people that have been told that they're not smart enough or they're not educated well enough or something to vote properly, and if they don't vote for Trump, they're something they're not, are now going, you know what? Don't tell us how to vote. On top of that, do you think the people in New York agreed with what happened to Donald Trump in the court system? What their court system allowed to happen? How it was weaponized against him?
Also,
clearly.
The immigration problem and all of the people
getting hammered up there.
the immigrants in the hotel and the crime and all this. I mean, it's unrecognizable up there.
Yeah. So
you can't go down some of the streets that I've walked and recognize them.
Yeah. So the people there, to be surprised that New York is in play, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people are surprised it took this long, but I'm not. This is something that will transpire in the last 2 to 3 weeks of the campaign, and I think the polls again are not indicative of the true polling what's out there, because Trump is always polled weak, and he's certainly going to poll weak depending on what's coming out of New York. But when you see the Wall Street Journal and some other polls that are starting to tighten up like this, it's legit, and that's not even accounting for the Trump supporters that are the hidden supporters, the ones that it's like back when Clinton ran the first time and nobody said they voted for him, but the guy won in damn near a landslide. It's between, as we've said before,
exactly.
It's between
I think we're
going
to see a lot more of that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's going to be interesting
Amen.
on election night.
Amen to that. We're going to. And that's going to be an early one because it's on the East Coast. So we might start to see a very early swing in New York. I'm saying 6, 7 o'clock-ish. Get ready, because I got a good feeling. New Yorkers don't take anybody's shit. Trust me, I know. And they're fed up with this crap. And they're ready to turn the tide and vote red. And I'll stand by that.
Don't tell a New Yorker they're not smart enough to make their own decisions. They'll tell you real quick where to go. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Being in the Eastern time zone, again, we're not being too presumptive. That's a tough win. But to say it's in play at this point is huge. And this will play into those results opening between 7 and, say, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's going to make for an interesting evening there. So if you are in New York, I'm a prior New Jerseyan.
Get out there and vote.
Get out here and vote, folks.
Do it. Get on whatever public transportation. Get you a Metro card. Hop on the subway. Whatever you got to do. Get down there. Get your family. Get your friends. Get all of you together and get down there and vote. For God's sake, your country needs you.
And to our brothers and sisters in the rest of the state, thank you. Because we all know.
Thank you so much for everybody who's gone out there and done this.
And the rest of the country, the rest of the state, are two different worlds. And I believe that the people in central through western New York State have already made their choice, will continue to make their choice and do the right thing. So thank you for what you've done there. And again, keep your minds open and do the right thing for your state, do the right thing for your country. But it's going to be interesting. We're going to come back. Yeah, I think we blew out the time limit. I'm going to have to, have to recharge the batteries after this one. But we will be back. Going to try to do an update on where everything stands here. What is today? Thursday.
Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday. So we will try to probably do a little bit earlier next week, try to get something in by, say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll have it up on the channel. We'll have a notify button there so you can hit notify. We'll let you know when we are going live so you don't miss one bit of this little party we
hit that
here.
Bell so you guys never miss a notification.
Absolutely. You don't hit the bell, you're ding-a-ling. Wait a minute, that sounds like Obama.
Right. Don't be a ding-a-ling. We already got too many of those trying to run the country, okay?
Ring the bell. Let's do it this way. We're going to schedule for next Tuesday, same time, same bat channel. That'll give us 1 week out from the election. We'll have
Mark the calendars, people.
A lot of details with respect to the current standings on the early voting, where the polls are heading. Have a sneaking suspicion that ground will be gained.
Oh, yes.
correct
Oh,
side
I
of the
got a
street.
good, strong feeling. And
I
I will,
got a feeling.
I'll just let you guys know, I'll be taking notes on the podcast as well as the rally. So we will fill you guys in on that in case you've only seen clips of it or you didn't get a chance to catch in and tune into it. I will absolutely do that for you guys and have that ready to go for Tuesday. Absolutely.
That's good. We are going to keep you as updated as we possibly can leading up to the big night. And if things continue to hold, I don't want to jinx things, but got a good feeling about this one.
Right.
Real good
Just
feeling.
stay positive and stay the course,
Well,
guys.
And make sure you vote if you haven't voted already. But we appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We've had a great time. We love talking to y'all. We appreciate you coming out with us. And those of you that catch us on the replays, we've been really spending getting a lot of traction on the replay of the live event. We are live here. We love doing the live stuff. I mean, you know, where else can you get this much stuff thrown at you
Right.
and winging it?
In an hour,
Well,
man,
not
this
really.
is some, I don't know, this is some good stuff. We get down to the details and the whys and the hows, and
Hour and
we're just a
41
bunch of
minutes for
average
free,
folks.
folks.
Right. We're not
But,
trying to
we-
sell you anything. We're just trying to get you to tune in.
We're selling them one thing, that they
Trump.
that they take this election seriously, and serious as a heart
You
attack,
know,
folks.
Right.
But with that, I think we're going to wrap this one up. It's been an hour and 42 minutes, so we've blown ourselves out here tonight. We thank you all for coming out. We thank, again, Real Clear Politics for all the hard work they do.
Yes.
We certainly thank our
Rasmussen,
subscribers.
thank you.
Rasmussen, other pollsters, we appreciate everything you're doing. Angie will have us a little bit of information that we'll pass along on that book that I think that
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
will be something we'll all be
We're gonna
interested in hearing a little bit about. Maybe we can get lucky and find out a little bit more about the author and have see if we can reach out and maybe have some live time with her. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
We'll see
That'd be
what we can do.
amazing. I think that'd be great.
But,
I would love to talk to her and hear more.
That would be awesome, and that would be a special event for us for sure. And
Yeah.
we'll try to see if we can reach out, maybe make that happen. But thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate every one of you. Thanks again for the
Yes,
subscribers.
thank
If you're not a
you.
subscriber, please subscribe. Hit the notify button. Hit the bell.
Hit all the
we love
buttons.
every one of
all
you.
of them.
Yeah, if it's out there, just hit it. Just share.
Just start hitting
like,
stuff.
all that stuff, because when you do stuff like that, our channel gets out a little bit further. More people get a chance to come in and hear what we have to say. And,
Right.
again, all we're doing is just trying to do a little bit of education here and let you all know where we stand as we lead into probably the most important election cycle ever. And we appreciate you coming out and listening to us. And we look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Same time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
And with that, Ange, final words.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much. And God bless America. God bless Donald J. Trump. And we'll see you guys Tuesday.
God bless America. Mr. Trump, keep up the hard work. See you next week, folks.